Oh, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 365 of FloWrestling Radio Live. I'm your host, Christian Piles, joined not by Willie Saylor.
Psych.
I cannot say, as always, by my mainest man, Willie Saylor, ever again. Do not let me say, as always, because this guy, you just never know. In all seriousness, Willie, we've talked, it's been a common topic of discussion that Willie is a gout sufferer. And part of Willie's problem is that he is in denial that he has gout, which is preventing him from getting the treatment his enormously swollen foot desperately needs. This first emerged in 2015 at the U.S. Open. After wrestling me, he had a major gout flare-up and limped around the South Point hotel for the entire week.
It was embarrassing.
It was highly embarrassing.
He went to the trainer.
He went. I forgot. He went. You've got you got Joe Colon here getting his head wrapped, and you've got David Taylor getting an ankle taped, and then you've got Willie sitting up there with his fat foot, probably wearing a flannel shirt, getting examined by the poor trainer who is not paid to examine the injuries / ailments of wrestling media. Yet here that poor saint was. I completely forgot about that. And now he's at the doctor finally, and we should be thankful that he is seeking care for his foot, because apparently it was a very tough scene at NHSCA. If you can elaborate, Nomad.
There was a lot of you go on ahead, I'll catch up going on this weekend. A lot of I want to go watch that match, but by the time I get there, it's gonna be over. So,
oh my word.
So like, if there was a match that he wanted to watch, or like his nephew was there, right? So he was there for all his nephew's matches. He would have to get up about the time that it got called to be in the hole.
That's tough.
We're talking full 6-minute high school matches, right? We're doing the high school. We're not doing the middle school like one.
Did he
so
have
it would take like 20 minutes to get to a mat.
Did he ever have to stop and like catch his breath or anything like that? Like lean on one
No,
of those
he was never
railings?
like out of breath. He just was. He was hobbled.
He was hurting.
Yeah.
Huh? I'm sure he was lapping up the sympathy from the community. Okay, well, Willie, get better soon. He will try to tell you it's turf toe, so he sounds athletic.
Yep.
But Kyle, myself, and Dan all know this is definitely gout. And until
Either way, it sucks. Turf toe sucks. Gout sucks. It all sucks. So whatever he's got.
it's gout.
Yeah.
Definitely gout.
Can you explain why you think it's gout, Bracky? Because I wasn't sure, and then you sold me this morning.
Yeah, they used to call it the King's disease because it's when you eat a lot of meat and drink a lot. And that's literally all Willie does.
And you live a sedentary lifestyle.
Yes, you don't do anything.
Okay. So that is basically, that is as close as you can get to a diagnosis. The fact that that's the description of gout, and that's how the Kings used to get it. I'm sorry, Willie, you have gout. I hope he's listening. He's probably going to cause another flare-up. So, anywho, we're doing it. It's Kyle, Nomad, and myself. Nomad just got back from beach living. You can see he's got a little tan. It looks like he was outside for at least 14 minutes during his time at the beach. So
It was cold down there.
yeah, it was kind of cold here, too,
And there were
actually.
Stupid kids running in the water.
Now,
March 28th, they're running in the water.
you're not going to not run in the water at Virginia Beach. So, quick catch-up. Bo Nickel won the Hodge Trophy. There were 4 co-votes, which I think were probably like Kale, David Taylor, Zane Rutherford, and
Maybe Kerry McCoy, since he also went to Penn State.
maybe Carey. He won a Hodge?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. Okay, so that's my theory on the co, but Bo was I think the clear runaway winner statistically, so I don't know if there's much to discuss other than that. Other than Willie asked me, who's the best to never win the Hodge? And then he said, before I could answer, he said, Nolf, next topic. And I was like, well, there's different ways to look at it. There's like best careers to not win the Hodge, and then there's best seasons to not win the Hodge, right? Because that's really kind of how it's viewed. So in some ways, Ed's sophomore and junior years were really good. That was one. In terms of a career, Jake Varner made a world team in college. But I think probably at the end of the day, Nolf is probably the best guy. 3 undefeated seasons not to win the Hodge. Yeah, he's undefeated.
The stupid Van Brill thing.
Yeah.
So in terms of, I was trying to go back and look through it, and I couldn't quite find them all. So if anybody has them, please send them to me. But since 2012, which is approximately the time that Penn State started taking over the Hodge Awards, 5 of the last 8, the NCAA has put out the most dominant score, which the TLDR version of that is you treat every match like it's a dual meet. You only take Division I matches, total it up, and divide by the number of matches, right? Pin 6, Tech 5, da-da-da. Zane's 2017 score. Zane's 2017 season is the most dominant season of all time.
Exactly.
5.56.
Yeah.
Nolf, that year, second most dominant season since 2012, 5.26 dominant score, and his closest match was like 4 or 5 against Kemmerer. And I forget if that was in the duel or NCAAs, but one of his matches against Kemmerer was his closest, and he still won by 4 or 5.
What's interesting, Nomad, is I was going to say, and one of my answers to Willie was, well, one way you can look at his best seasons to not win, and think about Zane in 2016 when Ringer won. Zane's season was amazing, but you're telling me here that Nolf's year, this year, or last year, excuse me.
27, his sophomore year.
Oh, so Nolf's sophomore year.
Nolf's sophomore year, Zane's junior year.
Got it. So Nolf's sophomore year was not as good as Zane's sophomore year.
Zane's junior year.
Well,
2017.
I'm talking about
yeah.
Zane won
sorry.
as a junior.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Got it. So that's interesting to learn. So, wow, yeah, I guess the answer is Nolf is the best to never win the Hodge, and no further discussion there.
I do think it was cool that Allen, Texas, won both the Heisman and the Hodge. That's interesting. Obviously, yeah, very sad or whatever that Nolf didn't win. And, there's a bunch of guys, right? Ruth Snyder, as CP just talked about. I do want to make one final comment. I stand by my point that if you're in the media and you voted for Hodge, you should get your thing revoked. Yes, awards are meaningless ultimately. Like,
I don't think
so
they did, though.
You can do whatever you want. I know, I agree. But even people defending it, like Willie and Jason Bryant, voted for one person. And you know why you voted for one person? Because you know it's dumb to vote for 2. Don't be disingenuous.
Well, I missed this whole thing on Twitter. I got caught up this morning that you were going at it about the.
There was other people too.
Listen,
it wasn't just those 2.
You're exactly right. The numbers are clear, right? There's a very specific criteria, and you can assign a winner between the 2 for each criteria. And there's no scenario where you come up with an equal score. You just feel sad for one of them and don't want to make a decision.
And also, don't give me the 2001 thing. Go read about 2001.
Yeah, 2001 really is that good? Okay.
Nick Ackerman had spinal meningitis. This is not the same as 2 guys having pretty close, historically great seasons.
Willie has a better shot.
Not the same thing.
Willie has a better shot at getting a Hodge with his gout than Nolf does getting a Hodge, just being really good. All right.
Nolf hurt his leg once.
He did hurt his leg once, and then he came back and smashed everyone.
Yeah.
And that was very impressive.
That was quite impressive. Okay. So, coaching news. There's not much currently.
Coach update.
None. No updates. We're all kind of waiting for the Maryland fallout thing. I know interviews are happening today. We'll see who gets coached. I still think it will be Scott Moore. I think he's the best candidate based on the names I've heard, I think, in terms of what he's accomplished as a head coach, but certainly things can change there.
I know we've talked about this on the show already. Do you feel any differently about as a Big Ten school, Maryland should mainly be looking at guys who already have head coach, or that they should be open to it now that you've kind of heard the names of who's put in for it? Do you think they should be more open to assistants maybe than you were before when it was just a nebulous anyone is theoretically available?
Yeah, I think programs are too often really looking for the head coach. Like, I know, like with Wisconsin, obviously Bono was a great candidate in that instance, but they were not going to hire someone that didn't have head coaching experience. I don't think that's the right way to look at it. If you're the best guy, you're the best guy, and the experience of coaching, being a head assistant coach or whatever. You think about like Casey Cunningham. It's like, man, that guy would be the pick over how many different D1 head coaches right now. Same maybe for Cody. and a couple other assistants, Donnie Pritzloff, et cetera. Donnie's never been a head coach, but I think he'd certainly. I think he has a wealth of experience. I mean, that guy's been at Wisconsin, he's been at Michigan, he's been at Rutgers in like very involved roles. Guys like that have all the experience you need to come in and run a program. So I think it's a little overrated having head coaching experience. Of course, when you have a true like blue blood program like Iowa, Ohio State, Penn State, you should have someone. You should have your pick of the litter, and ideally those people will be head coaches or have head coaching experience. So that's kind of how I view that. That's about all we have for coaching news. We'll keep you posted as more stuff comes. Final X news. Jaden Cox has accepted, and Adeline Gray has accepted. And now, so basically, USA Wrestling asks all the world medalists, world champs who have a bye to Final X if they choose to accept it, hey, are you in or are you out? And so really the biggest news is the not name in there, which is Kyle Dake. Kyle Dake has not yet accepted a spot at Final X, which the obvious reason for that is he's going down to 74 kilograms. Now, his window to accept is not closed yet. I think he has till the Open.
Yeah, I don't know the exact date, but it definitely is around the end of this month.
Okay.
So like he said, he's got plenty of time.
He's got time, but the fact that he did not immediately say, "Yep, I'm in. I'm in for Final X. Put me in the finals." That's cool. That says to me he wants to go down. Now, are there any other interesting? I know we've got only Adeline and Jaden so far. There's some others that have accepted. Maybe we're not supposed to put those out just yet.
Yeah, don't do that yet.
Yeah, I don't. I'll get yelled at by Gary, our man at USA Wrestling. But Dake has not accepted it yet. I can say that, and even if I can't, I just did. So I don't know. There's no pulling that one back.
Well, and you made the point on Twitter. Well, first of all, Dake and Jaden are the only ones that are interesting in the sense that everyone else that won a medal on the men's freestyle side is at
An Olympic weight.
Was at an Olympic weight. And then on the women's side, there's going to be a couple of those too.
Well, Cologne actually, 61.
True, I didn't.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if he's going up or down. So I guess that's why I haven't thought much about him. And he's been wrestling 61, so I just kind of assumed.
when him and Kyle Snyder wrestle, he's winning. When he's going with David in these practices, he's winning. Take that for what it's worth. Multiple sources out of these training camps are saying, dude, Jaden is just like jump levels now. I don't know if you've heard that. You're nodding.
I think Jaden has, in general, jump levels. No matter what's happening in the room, whatever changes, mentally, physically, whatever he's done, maybe just being able to focus full time on freestyle, he's starting to actualize the potential that we all saw when he was a freshman. We're like, whoa, this kid has the body, he has the mind, he has the coaching, he has the work ethic, he has the talent, and now it's all coming together. And if I'm Kyle or David, I'm a little worried.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you're kind of hoping. I mean, he's going down. Everyone says he's going down. Coach Jackson said he's going down.
That's what I'm hearing.
The plan is he's going down. So it'll be Jaden versus DT. It sounds like, of course, things can change, bodies can grow, and he could say, "Screw that, I'll just go up to 97." But it sounds like it's going to be 86, and it's going to be, it's one thing to be winning practice room goes and things like that, but it'll be a different story come 2016 or 2020 Olympic trials between those two. So excited for that. I mean, I know we're talking about Olympic trials, but man, it's so much of not only the international season, but really the upcoming college season is kind of revolving around the Olympics.
Well, how many times have we gotten questions? I mean, since the start of this past season, who's taking Olympic redshirt? Who's taking Olympic redshirt? Who's taking Olympic redshirt? And I put out the list, and I think it was about January when USA Wrestling kind of finalized it. So we know who has an Olympic red shirt as of now. We have a better idea of who can get one now that we have the final NCAA placements, and then depending on how many of those guys make the finals at U23 trials, right? Those top three guys or previous champs. The thing is, most of the guys who won who still have eligibility left, except for Suriano, basically, had already qualified for an Olympic red shirt, right? Makai already had, Spencer already had, Yanni already had. And Suriano, as far as I know, has no interest in wrestling freestyle.
I think there's interest.
For 2020?
That's
okay, that's great. I was not aware of that. That's awesome.
Well, certainly it hasn't been publicized. I think it's a consideration. I don't think it's a guarantee either way, but I think definitely they're considering it. I think he might wrestle at Beat the Streets. Obviously, he'll be invited. We'll see if it materializes. We don't know many of those matchups yet. Or by many, I mean any, other than JoJo Aragona versus Adam Buziello. But hopefully those will be materializing this week. It sounded like on our call last week that would be kind of the case. So,
real quick, getting back to the bye thing real quick and kind of where Jaden is, and Jaden's a little different than most people that are going to have to go through the tournament because he is defending world champ and all. But when I wrote this article back in 2017, when it was still the old process where you had the open and then you had the trials and everything was in one day, right? Everything was in Lincoln that one day. I'd looked at since 2009, 43 buys had been earned via the U.S. Open, and 30 times out of that 43, the person with the buy won.
Mm-hmm. You know what? What's interesting to me? I was thinking about this when I was just considering this Jaden decision. How many times has the world medalist sat out and been unseated by the guy that came through? We see it happen where Metcalf comes through and he takes it, but he beats the guy that won the Open or whatever. But the medalist getting unseated, I was just trying to think back. Even when Kyle in 2016, Varner won the first one and Varner just couldn't keep it together the last two. David Taylor against Jaden, he wrestled the whole tournament. He kind of smoked Jaden in that first match. Didn't have it to win the next two. Dake, I mean, it's just when these guys are sitting out. Now, Burroughs was not a returning world medalist that year, but just in general, the world medalists, when they get to sit out, when's the last time one got unseated? And
it's a little different, of course, now with the Final X process, right. But then it's going to go back to obviously not one day because of Jay Wayne's, but a single tournament for Olympic trials. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of going to be weird to compare this short period of data from 2018 to 2019. But on the men's side, I can't think of any. On the women's side, last year we saw Jakara beat Becca. But even on the women's side, it's pretty rare that the returning medalist. The difference is, how often do we see a medalist go up or down to face another medalist?
Right, that's pretty rare.
So I got this article pulled up. Probably sometime this week, I'll be able to go back and look at the 2017 results and the 2018 results, and kind of update the value of the bye, and then maybe break it down into medalist versus open. What I do know is, when the person who has the bye loses, the person who wins usually holds the spot for a while. So when James Green won, that was his spot for 4 or 5 years, right? So that's like the most recent example. But there are other examples going back a little bit. So that's the thing, is the guys who are able to beat the person with the bye are then taking control of the spot and competing for medals.
Yeah. Well, so we'll see. We'll learn a lot. I mean, what I'm interested in this U.S. Open, because there's a lot of incentive for a lot of guys to go. Who's going to enter weight by weight? Of course, for 57, stakes are extremely high because we don't have a returning world medalist. So we should see, theoretically, everyone in there. And I'm curious who's going to be back at that weight. Like Tony Ramos made a World Team Trials finals. I think he's probably going to be up at 61 if I had to guess. I don't know that for sure. But, you can almost pencil Dayton in for any tournament that he's allowed to enter, because he enters everything. He wrestles in everything. And I think we'll see him at the Open. Gilman, theoretically, this will be...
I mean, he kind of has to, right?
I think so. I mean, well, as a returning world teamer, I feel like he's in trials.
No, he's definitely in trials.
He can put himself in Final X.
Right, he's not. Yeah, he can put himself in Final. I'm just saying.
That's what we're talking about. But now there's also, you run the risk of, if you don't, then you do have to wrestle World Team Trials, but it's like 2 weigh-ins, right? Or but more opportunities. That's basically the risk for these senior level guys, in my opinion. That's what they're weighing. They're weighing number of matches, number of weigh-ins versus number of opportunities.
In 2017, Gilman could have won the U.S. Open and sat to the finals, and he elected to not go.
Correct.
He went to Last Chance instead. So it would not be the first time Gilman has said, I'm not worried about that. I'll do it. And then, he got the ball rolling, kind of like he said in the film.
And how about that almost didn't happen because DeShazer headlocked him.
Yeah.
And he was down like 6-0.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the risk you run.
Yeah.
And look, he got it done. And I don't enjoy doubting Thomas Gilman, and I'm not doubting him here, but that is the risk you run if you don't go to the Open and you elect to say, hey, I'm going to get it done at trials, because hey, there are other good people in that weight.
But he's already in trials, so that's
no. I'm saying if he skips the Open and says, I'm not worried about getting the bye to Final X, I know I'm going to get it at the Open, but then at the trials, but then you run that risk of losing in Raleigh and not making it to Final X at all.
Yeah.
So number of opportunities is an important thing to consider as well.
Obviously, the big question at 57 kilograms, will we see Spencer Lee?
Right.
I don't know. I don't know why he didn't wrestle last year. Last year the plan was, he kind of said he would, and then he's like, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to wrestle at Dogu or whatever, or wrestle international, and he end up doing that. So I don't know what the plan is. I haven't heard anything. Last time around, University of Iowa put out a release that's saying, hey, he's not doing this. So I assume we'll probably have to wait for something like that, or just see if he enters the U.S. Open. But I'm not sure if he's going to try to make the world team this year either or not. We haven't seen him wrestle freestyle since 50 kilogram world finals when he won in 2016.
2016.
So it's been a bit, and we'll see if he comes back. I obviously hope he does in a big way.
Well, I don't, just given how everything went down with Ramos and Dennis, and given the type of season that Spencer had, and how he's young enough where if he, for all intents and purposes, takes this Olympic cycle off in terms of wrestling freestyle, given Gilman's age and given Spencer's age, I don't think we're going to see him until 2020. this is right, complete outsider's view. I haven't talked to anybody in the Iowa program about this. I would just assume let Gilman finish out this quad, and then if Gilman wants to come back and continue wrestling, for
So you mean 2021 then?
Yeah. I don't think we see Spencer wrestle freestyle till 2021 at the senior level. Maybe U23s.
Whoa. That'd be crazy.
That's just my opinion.
I mean, maybe. It's very possible. I don't know.
And then 2021, if Gilman's still around, then they have the conversation. Hey, look, this is it. Spencer's in his last year of college now. If he does an Olympic red shirt, then hey, now you guys got to figure it out.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. I hope that he does. Kind of. I always kind of viewed him as a guy with major international aspirations and not a guy that wants to wait. So I would have assumed we would have seen him last year and would assume we'd see him this year. But at this point, it being 2 years and change since we've seen him wrestle freestyle, maybe he's taking a more wait a little bit till the time's right approach to freestyle. Or maybe he'll enter this year and make the world team and win worlds. It's very possible. Okay, so that's 57. I don't know if we want to go through every weight, but 65 is the one that's very you got to figure everyone's going to be there. We see Zane and Yanni and Logan and McKenna and Ironman and maybe Jo if he can still make the weight. I'm not sure.
That's the plan.
I don't know. I don't know if it's still the plan. But we will see. So 65, Mr. Spreadsheet. Can you lock in here?
I am. I'm putting in the guys so that we can talk about them.
Shoot.
So Logan Sieber obviously was the world teamer last year. He did not medal, so we don't have anybody sitting out, which is it's good and it's bad, right? Like having somebody sit out means you have world medalists, but then it's also for us as like media and fans, then we get to see more of the matchups, right?
Yeah.
McKenna was his opponent in Final X, and Jaden Ironman was third on the national team. Ironman has already said he's taking an Olympic red shirt. Yanni, somebody who a lot of people think is going to take an Olympic red shirt. He certainly, I think, should take a very hard look at it, given what he has said about his freestyle aspirations. And I'm sure that he was frustrated that he couldn't wrestle last year with the torn ACL. Year before he wrestled the Junior Open and then didn't end up wrestling the trials. So I imagine he is itching to wrestle freestyle. You already mentioned Jordan Oliver.
What about Frank Molinaro?
That was the one I was just about to get to. Frank Molinaro. Now the plan, I thought the plan was Molinaro wrestled 70 at the Dave Schultz, mainly because they had him on a schedule where he was going to wrestle in so many events that they're like, hey, don't burn a weigh-in now, right? Just win the tournament, get some matches in, qualify for trials, and then go 65 for Cuba and this and that. But he ended up going to Cuba, and he hasn't wrestled 65 at all yet. So maybe they're being a little slower with his descent. Obviously, they don't have like rules about descent, but just like in terms of physiologically, they're like, hey, let's just wait until April 28th or whenever the Open is when we get to Vegas.
Yeah, so Molinaro would definitely be a big wrinkle into that weight class, and they'll all be there. And I don't know what Yanni's plan is for 2020. I'd love to see him wrestle in college and then shoot for the world team, but obviously he has big international aspirations, and he's got the goods to make a run at the team for sure. So, and then 70 is interesting because, Nolf and Green's not a returning medalist, so theoretically those guys should both be there at the U.S. Open. Really looking forward to that one. Any other contenders that you see, maybe Kyle Brackey at 70?
No, I think you guys nailed those.
All right.
I'm trying to, because
maybe the Mug Dog.
Yeah, absolutely. He was in the finals of the Open last year.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
And what I'm curious about with not just guys like Hayden, so you look at kind of the guys who wrestled juniors and guys who wrestled U23s, and it's very conflicting because I'm very much team go wrestle freestyle, right? We saw I'm going to end up writing something about Mekhi Lewis, right? And some Christian was talking about, like, should we have seen this coming? Because guys who win junior worlds, right, they end up doing really well at the NCAA level. But there's also the concern of going all summer. You're going to camps, right? It's not just wrestling the trials in May. It's then camp, going overseas, wrestling in Worlds. You miss the preseason, right? In a lot of cases, you have to completely change your mindset from freestyle to folk style. And we've seen guys who can overcome it, right? Gabe Dean still was able to overcome when he did his made his junior team, but he also took a couple losses earlier in the year.
Yeah, he did not look right after that.
Right, and Hayden, I think that contributed a little bit to Hayden this year too, where
he didn't look good at the beginning of the year.
Exactly, yeah. So it's very conflicting because I totally get I selfishly want them all, and I want our best teams for Team USA, but there's also the concern that coaches have of, man, are we going to burn these guys out before the season and kind of risk their seed and obviously again a lot of guys can overcome, but there's still some concern there.
Yeah, for sure. So Open definitely going to be super juicy, super interesting. We'll probably get into that more a little bit later.
Do you think now that Nolf has done college, because he's obviously going to do it for 2020, do you think we see Nolf at 74 this year?
That is so interesting to me. I have no idea what he's going to do.
Right.
Is there just no way, shape, or form he ever made 65? Is that just like unthinkable?
I thought that I heard someone say at the Penn State social after NCAA's that he was going to wrestle 74 for 2020. Mm-hmm. That's a year away.
If I'm him, if I'm Jason Nolf, what a world this would be. Genius, great wrestler, guy. To me, it's like get some more international experience. Make a team if you can beat Green, and then because the reality is you're not going to unseat Burroughs or probably even make the finals with Dake there. Get a year of seasoning. Get all those camps. Make a team. Maybe win a medal. I think he could do really well. If he can get by Green, I think he'll do well. I think if Green makes a team, he'll do real well. I think that experience would be really valuable for him, for someone that doesn't have a ton of freestyle experience. And he's someone we've seen kind of make big improvements, but he has a really unique style that's going to have to make adjustments. I just feel like he's a guy where if you put him in the environment time and time again, he's going to be like an Askren-type quick learner, able to evolve, learn from his mistakes. So I feel like he can make a lot of mistakes, learn a lot this year at 70, then get big and give yourself a run, because there's no one like him at 74. He's a completely – it's not like yeah, he's a total wild card. And I don't know if he can even would he be the best 74 in the Nittany Lion room with Vincenzo Joseph potentially trying to make the team. I think Chinzo's interesting as well at 74 long term. But with Dake and Burroughs, man, that's such a tough hill to climb, especially if you're not seasoned international wrestler. Go make a team or put yourself in position to make a team and potentially win a medal, and then go from there. There's big opportunity in that.
What are your thoughts on? So I just looked up, found his age. So he's 23 right now. So he has one final year. He already turned 23 this year. So he has one final year of U23 eligibility. Again, he's done college. Mm-hmm. Do you also think maybe he should look at trying to make a U23 team if he doesn't make it to Final X?
They're not going to Mike Machiavello him, are they? We're going to make the team, and then it's like, yeah, you're too old.
No, it says 96 is his birthday.
Okay, 96. So there, as we all know, 96. He'll be fine. Yeah, sure, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if I see him.
Well, just because you said you get the value making a team. I know it's not a senior team, but
it'd definitely be a lot of experience.
Right.
You go to camps and all that. Not that he doesn't go to camps, anyways. Yeah, maybe does U23, but I think he's such a contender on the senior level, especially at 70. I just don't see him trying to do all that, but maybe.
Real quick, getting back to that point that I made earlier about do you send guys or not? U23 Worlds, it looks like they're even later this year than they were in 2018. October 28th, November 3rd.
What? Oh my gosh!
Which for the world is
fine.
They don't care, right? They don't have a college season to go to, but
Isn't that getting changed though? Like I know this year is set, but like in the future, aren't they going to have a more
there is a there's a plan to change the schedule. But in the short term, I wouldn't be surprised if we did not send, our strongest U23 team again. Now, again, it's a little different this year with Olympic red shirts and stuff. But given that it's so late, I mean, that's past not just the start of practice, but legit competition season.
Right.
So I don't know how strong our U23 team is this year, just because a lot of the best guys still have college eligibility and national title aspirations.
Yeah, of course. All right, I want to go to questions now. Enough. 8:37 in the AM here in Austin, Texas. A lot of good questions. First one from Ender Kong Cow.
All right.
Dead serious. At Asian_boy 0214. What are your predictions for the most surprising weight changes at the U.S. Open? Will they impact the national world team? Biggest weight changes, well, Dake would be big. If Tony goes up is big. Molinaro coming down is big. Mm-hmm. If J.O. goes 70, that's big. I'm trying to think of any others. Jaden is staying, so that's interesting. I think Hayden Zilmer will be at 97 this year, which, he was in Final X, so for what that's worth. But that's all I've got. Are there any others I'm missing?
If Nolf goes 74, which we just talked about. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. We kind of know where everybody is approximately, and you assume that more guys are going to shift towards the Olympic weights than not. So we saw it in 2015. The non-Olympic weights at Worlds were not as strong as the Olympic weights. Mm-hmm. The brackets weren't as big. The guys weren't as good.
Right.
That's what it was.
How does it feel doing enough FRL shows to fill up the whole year? Feels good. Feels real good. Here's to another year of FRL shows.
I want somebody to we need receipts that somebody will spend the next calendar year listening to all of them, one per day.
Yeah, someone do that. Receipts. This question is more specific for Wrestling Nomad. This is from, I'm not even trying to read that. Oh, my name Jeff for FRL.
Do you know what that's from?
Uh-uh.
It's from 22 Jump Street.
Oh, I
the second one. But he's trying to act like he's somebody else. And he goes, "My name is Jeff."
Oh.
In a really high pitched voice. But that's the Channing Tatum's the one who says it. So.
Oh, got it. That's why that's his avatar.
Yeah.
And he made this for FRL.
My name's Jeff.
For FRL. This question is specific for Wrestling Nomad. Will you, sir, state here on FRL 365 that you will never pick against Zahid Valencia again? Not even if he loses to Hall or anyone else during the season. Not even if he's the 33 seed coming into NCAAs.
We'll never pick against Zahid Valencia. Well, I'm going to pick against Zahid Valencia against Kyle Dake and stuff. So, no, I'm not going to say I'm never going to pick against Zahid Valencia again.
How about, okay, I'll refine it because you know what he means. You know he means.
Hey, he asked the question.
Okay.
You want
Here's my
good
question.
answers? Ask good questions.
Here's my question.
Don't be like Willie.
Christian Piles. Yeah, don't be like Willie. You'll be written out. It'll be just me and Kyle with our friends.
I answered the question.
Okay. Now you're being a smart aleck, so I'll refine the question because this is what Jeff meant to ask. Will you ever pick Zahid Valencia to lose to Mark Hall again?
Probably not.
Oh, probably not. Well, you know what? I like it. I like it because you were already definitive once, and you completely looked like a flip-flopper. So now you're not going to look like a flipflopper because you said probably not. So I'm fine with this answer, actually.
I said right before the finals, I was like, I flip-flopped on this so many times, I don't get credit either way no matter what happens.
It's a classic lose-lose.
I think Zahid is better. I think Zahid's better. I think Mark is freaking amazing, and maybe the second or third best guy in the country, depending on where you look at Zahid, overall, pound for pound. But I just think Zahid's better. And I think he had a weird match, and the Rec Hall match mattered a lot more to Mark than it did Zahid. And then he beat him again. It was super close, right? And it was, the takedown was, he kind of hooked the ankle and it was close. But I just think Zahid's better.
Yeah, it's pretty freaking close.
It's very close.
Yeah.
But
I think you're wise to not be so.
JB and Dake are super close too.
Yeah, true. But it's been almost all Burrows except for one match. And the matches are close. Never mind. Not getting pulled into that one. If you could reverse the outcome of any single match in NCAA history, which match would it be and why? Let's start with Kyle Brackey.
I know the answer.
Yeah, last year's NCAA final between Mike Machiavelli and Jared Hott. That one really hurt.
That hurt.
It hurt bad.
It hurt being around you. It hurt me. Even though Mike Machiavelli may be the nicest guy walking.
I'm not mad at him.
You are mad at Mike.
I'm not mad at him. He did what he had to do, but it really hurt to watch.
It hurt, and it hurts knowing that Jared had never lost to him.
I know.
Yeah.
Oy.
He was texting me about it this year. He's still hurting.
Is he?
Yeah.
Daggone it. Sorry. Look what you did, Mike. Big jerk.
Mike Machiavelli, also one of the nicest humans.
Just said that.
Yeah.
All right. What's yours, Nomad?
Either the 1983 EIWA Conci semis or the 1982 EIWA third place match. So my dad could have wrestled at NCAAs.
Dang, you took mine. Crap. All right, let me think. Since I can't use Roy Lobdell anymore, I will say, man, you know what? I didn't, at the time, I don't think it bothered me as much, but the more I've watched Dan Dennis, Jason Ness, even though I really like Jason Ness a lot, and just seeing Dan's face after he lost that match, like, I was like, I want to change this right now for this guy. I feel like, even though Ness definitely deserved the title and all that, I was just like, I feel like Ness would be able to handle this a lot more than Dan is right now. Like, you could just like see the anguish on his face, and I didn't even know Daniel Dennis at that time. And then you hear, you know, in the doc, like how bad that loss messed him up. I would like to change that.
And Dan Dennis was not supposed to be that guy. Like Ness was much more of a highly touted prospect, you know, recruit coming out. Dan Dennis was like, I don't know if I can wrestle D1.
Yeah, for sure.
At points in his high school career, you know, and then worked his way up.
Yeah, and you know he had never been really that close to Ness in a match. He's put the perfect match together until I don't even want to think about it. It's definitely that one though. I don't really like this question, but I'll ask it. Who cares? Debate. Suriano's the East Coast Gilman, but luckily he didn't go to Iowa or he'd end up with no titles. Changed my mind. Well, if your point is that lightweights don't win titles at Iowa,
it's really dumb.
That's really dumb. Like,
just because
Gilman didn't win a title. Well, the last two champs at 125 were from Iowa. His name's Spencer Lee. Corey Clark, Tony Ramos, Matt McDonough. They're pretty good at the lightweight. So no, are you trying to tell me if Nick Suriano went to Iowa, he wouldn't win national titles? Like you were smoking drugs. That guy would win titles at Iowa. He won them at Rutgers. He would have won them at Penn State. The guy was going to win titles, and Iowa's the place to be if you're a lightweight. He was going to definitely win title. So he's already got one. He's got one more year left. He could get two.
We can't change your mind because you clearly don't like Suriano or Gilman for that matter, or Iowa.
I think
you
it's
had
Iowa.
a whole bunch of hate here.
Yeah, who doesn't he like?
You need to take your daily vitamins.
Yeah, your vitamins.
And not be such a hater.
Yeah, his name's your daily vitamin. Mo Pierre, what are y'all's favorite / best wrestling books? I just read A Wrestling Life. I have not read that. And 4 Days to Glory. I have read that one. Let's start with Kyle Brackey.
I've not read a ton of wrestling books, but 4 Days to Glory is really good.
It's about Jay Borschel and Dan LeClaire and their pursuit of a fourth Iowa State title. It's really cool. There's actually a Matt McDonough reference in there because him and Borschel were teammates.
There's Ryan Morningstar references.
Yeah.
You'll recognize a ton of names if you read it.
It's about the recruiting process to Virginia Tech. It's cool. I highly recommend it. It's interesting insight to Jay Borschel had a pretty interesting mentality then too. I think he would print off message board stuff and like tape it to his wall, which if you know Jay actually doesn't really seem like something he would do. Like you'd be like, whatever.
He's a really cool guy.
Yeah, Jay is awesome. He's hilarious. So it was kind of it was just really cool to read. So I highly recommend that one. Nomad. What did your dad write one?
No, I never read Wrestling Life. I read the other.
What's a Wrestling Life about? I don't even know what.
There's a couple gay books.
That's a Chertow documentary.
That's one of them.
Oh,
I read a season on the mat about the '97 team, which I really liked. 4 Days of Glory is really good. 4 Days of Glory is also really good if you want, like, it's a real good time capsule of you look at Iowa wrestling and Iowa high school wrestling specifically in the early to mid 2000,
like 2005, 6, 4, 5, 6
right?
range.
And then kind of compare it to where it is now.
Yeah.
Just a really interesting take on that. I don't know that I've read many other wrestling books other than those two.
Definitely, Season on the Mat was like
Season on the Mat's awesome.
That was like a life-changing book for me. It was the first book
great.
I read about wrestling. It got me so fired up. I just loved everything about that book, and I love the mentalities of the guys and just like how there's some extreme stuff in there. Some of the weight cutting stuff with, I think, Joe Williams. I think it was Joe Williams. There's another guy that was cutting. I think maybe Mena, cutting so much weight,
and that was of course the year.
Literally carrying them to the scale type stuff, which that doesn't really happen anymore, thankfully. But no, great. I'd highly recommend A Season on the Mat. Highly recommend 4 Days to Glory. I know I've read others, but they're not coming to mind right now.
I don't recommend the Cejudo book.
Oh, that
Didn't
feels
like it.
I read the Cejudo book, and
I just feel like it's a bunch of propaganda. That's what. Just like
it's not great.
It's not.
No.
And it was ghostwritten by
Bill Plaschke.
Yeah.
Classic Bill Plaschke.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Not so much on the Cejudo book.
Okay. There you go. So, what weight do Bo and Nolf try going for World Olympic team? Well, we talked about Nolf. I'm not going to get into that one. Sounds like Bo 97 is the thing, which I would have said, 92 and then maybe make a choice next year. I figured he'd be an 86 Olympic style, but guess not. 97. And maybe they're trying to avoid the Gilman or the Dennis Ramos thing at their own weight at 86. And like, Bo, you're 6'5". Just hit the weight room, brother.
My understanding, is nickel 97 and then fisticuffs, MMA.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder, while we're on the topic of Penn State and fisticuffs and whatnot, what's Kassar's future? Well, one, does he come back next year for a 6th year? 2, what's his international ceiling? I mean, if you beat Gable twice and you have the 2-1 takedown advantage there, forgive me, but I feel like he's like a guy on our ladder at the senior level at 125. I believe that. Now, that's a crowded list because you've got Nick Wisdowski, multiple world medalist. You've got Kuhn. You've got, Nelson will be around, Don Bradley. You've got Gable, who he's beaten twice. You've got Anthony. Does Zach Ray still wrestle? He'll definitely be on the ladder. So it's a crowded area, but, man, I feel like Kassar's in the mix there.
And, I mean, I talked about this before. Kassar had, 130 takedowns this year.
Yeah.
Which is, like Snyder-ish numbers. There's also, is he a heavyweight? Like, is he fully too big now for 97? Probably, I would say. But, yeah, he's a neutral guy. He has excellent leg attacks, and he's extremely active, so he can probably tire out a lot of those guys a little easier and, win some matches on pace in addition to his technique. I think it's pretty high, but again, I think he also wants to do MMA. And so I guess my question for...
They said he's a pre-med major. Is that true?
Mike Mao would know.
That's who told me.
Well, then I bet he is.
Mike Mao coached Kassar in high school. The more you know.
The thing with Bo and Kassar, I wonder if they're gonna try to use their freestyle careers as like a jumping off point for MMA, where if you've made an Olympic team or you've won a world medal, it's a little easier to negotiate a better contract. You get maybe fast tracked a little easier. Which, I mean, if that's your plan, like, I don't really have a problem with it. Like, okay, I'm gonna do this.
Nomad's cool with it.
Well, it's somebody wrote an article the other day and it was like top 5 prospects that have graduated looking at MMA, and I don't know how many of them are actually going to go to MMA, but it's like if that's your goal, like Pico was very upfront, like I'm not going to wrestle forever, like the goal is MMA. So yeah, I think if you're going to do it, ramp up for freestyle for 2 or 3 years, try to make teams and win medals, and then cash in quick on MMA, and then give it all back to wrestling. Not all back, but a lot of it.
Give it
not
all
like
back.
100% of your net wealth, but
So make a lot of money and give it to me, Wrestling Nomad. I have Venmo at Nomad. FRL questions. 1984 Club. Has anyone ever handled the what's up everybody intro? If not, would pause allow no matter Bracky a shot? Actually, Bracky has done this.
I did it one time.
He did it once, but
it was not good.
And the recording was compromised, so no one ever heard it. Oh
yeah, that's right.
That was when I was at Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I have. It's happened before, and it just takes experience. Bracky would be great intro guy.
I would not like to do it right now. My nose is very stuffed up.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys can hear it, but
Brock Desert 3 count no biscuit. When will Sion be back on? Well, interestingly, Sion informed me yesterday. He's like, I'm coming on Thursday. So apparently he will be back on Thursday. As I've said repeatedly on this show, open invitation for Sion to come back. He can come back anytime. It's a total lie. He's a big lie guy. Very honest person.
Lie guy.
But he lies about nonsense things like me saying he can't be on the show. He can be on the show anytime he wants. But, he just has to abide by the, the FCC regulations?
Codes and laws of ethics.
Yeah, there's codes.
He also didn't want to do the donation thing if he cursed, remember?
Yeah. Well, sounds like he's out on charity.
Yeah.
Which that's a normal, not everybody, a lot of people have, cuss jars, right, in their houses.
Yeah, but
that's our version of a cuss jar.
We don't have a jar that big for his potty mouth.
10-gallon jug.
Another question. Will Willie ever appreciate us friends, or is that ship sailed? It's long sailed.
It's been gone.
It's been gone. He's lamenting your existence right now with his cursing his foot. He's probably blaming you, the FRL listeners, for his foot troubles. Mm-hmm. That's just the kind of friend he's not. So yeah, I'm sorry. Another great question. Brock Desert was on fire. Is Alan Jackson underrated?
100% yes.
He's highly underrated. He's one of the best to ever do it.
I remember last summer, before the wedding, we were trying to pick out music to give to the DJ or whatever, and I just got down this Alan Jackson rabbit hole, and I literally just wanted to play straight Alan Jackson.
I think you should have.
Here you go.
Yeah, Olivia was not down for it.
Yeah, she's very, she's so cool.
Yeah.
Back to Alan Jackson, highly underrated. Great question. This is hilarious. If a Jersey wrestler hits the bow and arrow, will the move be renamed to the bro and arrow? I think absolutely it will be. That's from Nikki Flo.
It has to be.
It has to be called that now. Nick Soriano needs to learn it. I feel like Soriano would do that move. I feel like he just grabbed the foot and horse.
He's got a nice Turk.
I was going to say, his Turk this year was, especially, and maybe I just wasn't really looking for it in the early part of the year, but the second half of the year, he was brutalizing people with it.
That's how he majored Cruz as a true freshman.
Was that what it was? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He just always can doubles off and scoops that bottom leg. It's a great move.
I hate when, sorry to interrupt, I hate when I notice oh man, that guy's got a really good X, right? Turk. And then it's apparently he's just been doing this for a while, and I just never quite clicked. Oh yeah, he's been doing this a while.
Yeah,
it's very annoying.
One that happened to me once when I was interviewing Aymar, and I was somewhat embarrassed. But I watched a lot of Aymar and didn't realize he was big roll through tilt guy. And at Reno, he was roll through tilting everyone. This was his. Mm-hmm. This would be his sophomore year, the year he beat Nolf in the finals. And I was like, hey, I noticed you were hitting this a lot. He's like, yeah, I've been doing that forever. I was like, yeah, I know.
I was just testing you.
But it looks better, don't you agree? I had never really seen him do it. And then I went back and I was annoyed at myself for not knowing that. I went back and watched a bunch and I was like, man, I'm an idiot.
I also have I'm much more likely to notice something specific technique-wise in person. I can get a general idea of things, kind of watching from home, but being in person and calling a match, you really it just sinks in so much more for me. Okay, this guy does X, Y, Z. Yeah.
All right. This is a question. This may divide the room.
We're about to fight.
We're about to fight. We're still a family, but we're about to fight. Kyle Curtis.
Do you need a mediator?
Maybe, but
I'm interested in your take on this because you're probably just going to piss me off.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Or he'll be on my team.
Let's play. And now this is an interesting question. Let's play a game.
I like the game. I like the game.
Let's play a game called Better Career So Far, the Bull or Hidley. Now, career. Now, hold on.
Okay, Nomad's on my team.
Now, there's a lot of different ways to look at this. If you look at it, here's how I view wrestling and how I value skill and how good you are or are not. Who did you beat and who beat you? If you start asking those questions and compare Alex Marinelli and Hayden Hidley, it is much closer than the low-hanging fruit of NCAA finishes. Now, if in Alex Marinelli's freshman year he had Alec Pantelio in the semis and not, Isaiah Martinez, perhaps he would be second at NCAAs as a freshman. If you look at the guys that he's beaten, how many All-Americans, do you know that Hayden Hidley did not beat an All-American this year until NCAAs? That's how weak his schedule is. So
his schedule was weak this year for sure.
Very weak. It was somewhat better last year.
It was much better last year. By New Year's, he'd already beaten Berger and LaValle.
Right. So he started really hot, and he was undefeated. They both had undefeated regular seasons at one point in their career. But if you look at the wins, right?
And then Hayden finished it off, won his conference, and Marinelli triple-dipped.
Okay. Well, let's put Marinelli in the ACC and see those conference results. It's a little different when you hit Logan Massa in your quarter or semi than when you're hitting who would be in the ACC top.
Mitch Feinsilver. He beat him last year at ACCs.
Feinsilver, who had not placed until last year. But he's good. That's a good win. It's a good win. I marked it down as one of his quality wins because they're not that easy to find with Hayden. So his best win is probably LaValle or Berger, who he beat twice. He's beaten Pantelio twice, Feinsilver twice, Micah Jordan, and Deacon. Those are fine wins, but he also lost to Pantelio and Berger and Larry Early III this year.
And he holds winning records over all three of those wrestlers.
I don't know if he's
true.
Has a winning record against Larry Early. I think he's 1-1 against him.
No.
He beat him twice his freshman year?
Yeah, hang on.
Well, he just needed to get to... Anyway, that's not a great way. Well, it honestly shows regression for Hayden this year. The fact that he was like 2-0 against Berger and lost to him this year. He had majored early as a freshman and lost to him. And then, this year he lost to Pantelio.
I guess he has 1-1. My bad. I thought there was another.
That's okay. He split with him. But he kind of went backwards. He beat Pantelio badly last year. Then he kind of lost to him. Sort of kind of lost to him in the quarters and then lost to him outright for 4. So I don't even think he's as good as Pantelio necessarily.
He beat him in freestyle too.
Well, freestyle.
It's just another win over the guy.
Sure, but I'm not stacking up those. But then, okay, so those are the wins that we're talking about. LaValle and Berger and Deacon and Pantelio, who he's also lost to most of those guys. Chenzo, Wick, Shields, Massa, Steyer, Chandler Rogers, Joe Smith, Isaiah White, Massa again, Walsh, Richie Lewis twice, who did not place, but I would say Richie Lewis is a better win than a Feinsilver based on what he was able to do that year. His losses, I believe, are more acceptable. Chance, Mackay, Aymar, Massa, Lewis, McFadden, Wick. Maybe not more acceptable. Maybe on par.
Hidley's only lost to All-Americans.
Okay, well, that's true except for Richie Lewis, who is, listen, Paul Fox is an All-American, right? Larry Early's an All-American, sure. But if you want to compare what a loss to Richie Lewis means versus a loss to Larry Early, I think we know what those mean, right? I think we know that Richie was a more high-quality opponent than Larry. So I think that's his only non-All-American loss, and it's to
wait. Hayden never wrestled Richie Lewis.
I'm comparing their worst loss. So Richie is the worst loss for Bull.
Oh, you're saying Richie's worst. Okay, I thought you were saying Richie's worst loss for Hidley. I'm like, they never wrestled. Sorry, that makes far more sense.
I'm just comparing worst loss. So you could say losses are a wash.
I get what you're saying about the wins. Like, there's no doubt about that.
And so when you're comparing guys, comparing careers, quality of and when they're in different weights, quality of competition has to be what you look at because, well, sure, if he was in this weight and not an all-time weight, maybe not all-time weight, but a vastly superior weight, we were lamenting 157 all year long. This weight is not good. I mean, Caleb Young made the semis, right? Like no one even thought that was possible coming this year.
Space said it was the toughest weight in the Big Ten.
It was extremely deep. Had a lot of qualifiers, but I think we know.
Marinelli also had a red shirt loss to Anthony Valencia,
Well,
who's not an All-American.
we're not talking red. We're talking. Ain't talking about red shirt. We're gonna talk about Paul Jen right now. Come on. So I think this is not a slam dunk. If you want to say, I mean, if honestly all we're saying is NCAA placements, this is not even a question.
Well, no, that's not all we're saying, but I mean, I think it's what matters to those guys the most. But I mean, you heard Sebastian Rivera talk about it. They were like, someone asked him about his wins over Spencer Lee, and they were like, do those still mean something to you? And he's like, no. Like, what does it get me right now?
I mean, sure, but what is fourth place? I mean, I don't know. I think.
I mean, those are just better finishes.
Yeah, they're better.
He was an NCAA finalist as a freshman, and then was damn close to being an NCAA finalist again as a sophomore. And then you have a guy that has triple dipped from the semis and then was 7th as a 1 seed.
Yeah, that's true. His NCAA finishes aren't as good, but he has better wins and he has equally acceptable losses. I mean,
like
way better wins. He's beaten way better.
Yeah, I didn't argue that.
To me, that shows a higher. So maybe
the question was better career.
Yeah, so I'm saying better wrestler, better wrestling accolade, maybe not accolades, but better proof of elite wrestling. I would say it's Alex Marinelli. That's my.
And we want to talk about I don't know about elite wrestler. Hayden Hiley was in the finals of the U.S. Open and made a U23 world team.
I know, but Marinelli doesn't even do
Marinelli
freestyle.
didn't even. He went to junior world trials.
Yeah,
lost.
He kind of got hosed. He lost on a interlocking fingers call.
I know.
5-5. It's about the most hollow win ever. And Mekhi Lewis is pretty freaking good. So yeah, it's more of a thing than I think both of you are acknowledging.
It might be more of a thing than I originally thought when I originally read the question on Twitter, and that's why I literally responded to it. Is because I was like, well, we're not going to answer this because I don't think it's a thing. So maybe it's more of a thing than I'm acknowledging right now. Maybe I don't know. I still think better career is Hayden.
Yeah. I just want it. I'm just glad that you.
If we're talking better wins or better wins, I guess. Or, yeah, I guess better wins would be the best way to put it if you're trying to argue Marinelli.
Quality of competition and better wins are always a thing, and there's always nuance when you're discussing better career, especially when two guys haven't met head-to-head and are in different weight classes. But the problem with that is it gets there's a lot of room for gray area when you're talking about different weight classes because ultimately – there are 8 All-Americans at every weight, and I know what you're saying that, not all Americans are created equal, but, that's just how wrestling is. There are weight classes, and those guys enter a tournament and they place, and all that matters in 50 years is brackets. Alex Marinelli is incredible and probably does have better wins that stack up better and, gets more opportunity because he's in the Big Ten. But Hayden Hidley has a better career, and Hayden Hidley should have been in the national finals this year.
But he maybe he should have been in the finals, but maybe he shouldn't have been in the semis.
To your point about that, Marinelli does have 2 wins over also a 2-time champion, Vincenzo Joseph. But Hayden Hidley's had the better career so far, and hopefully they both have good careers going forward.
Wow. Very classy of you. I love it. You always throw in that you wish that as though that needs to be said. You're like, hey, I don't want anyone to be hurt in wrestling. It's like, no crap. But I like that you throw it in.
Sometimes morons, not you guys, but morons
Maybe
just
me.
listen to 4 seconds of things and don't actually listen to the entire statement. And those people suck. So it's Hidley, but they got 2 years left. So
yeah,
it's all
Hidley
fun.
should
It's all
just
fun
go up-
debating.
It could easily change if Bull goes out and wins 2 titles, and Hayden's 4th and 2nd.
Maybe Hayden will come up to 65, and we'll see what it's all about when you don't have Pantaleo in your semi. Maybe we'll talk about that.
That would be
a little different.
That would be great. If
little different
Bull and
discussion
Hidley
then.
wrestled each other, then we'd figure it out.
Yeah,
I think Hayden's not gonna go 65.
I don't
He's
either.
a little smaller.
Okay, more questions. I told you, I really like these questions. Maybe you don't.
No, they're good questions.
Andre Moshier.
Willie can suck it. It's fitting that he's not on the show today.
It is, because you friends are in your true form right now. You're asking great questions. You're very funny. You're great content, just reading your questions alone. Andre Moshier, feeling a little used. It's called Alien Hour, but all I get is 10 minutes. Hashtag FRL, hashtag Alien Hour. Well, my response to that is, on Mars, 10 minutes is actually an hour. And I don't know that that's true. It may be the exact opposite, but you can just say that. And people be like, oh, okay.
That makes sense. It's Mars. Right. Maybe I need to start my own podcast.
Wow.
Just an Alien Hour podcast.
I would love to be a part of it, just involved in some way.
Yeah.
Because it's a great segment. Do you have any teases for what we may have this Thursday?
I kind of want to go off the rails with this one. I don't know. It might be a little deep. It might be a little too deep. It's another kind of conspiracy, but the Nipsey Hussle murder.
Oh, shoot.
I think it goes to the top.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
That was bad.
Full disclosure, did not know who he was until yesterday or 2 days ago.
Somewhat plugged in.
I don't know how. Yeah, same. I don't know how I didn't, but doing a little more research, seems like it might be trying to silence him.
Oh, boy. So one thing you don't know, you've never.
And Big Pharma's involved.
Oh. Well, you better be careful here.
I know.
If you expose this, listen, if Thursday doesn't come and Bracky's not here, Big Pharma got him.
Seriously, Nipsey said that a few times in a couple interviews because he was working on a documentary about what I'll talk about.
Oh, shoot.
And he was like, they're going to try to make it look like it was gang violence.
Oh, my gosh.
That's what literally the police are saying.
Oh, my gosh. This is not good. So we'll have to get into that. Big Pharma is always involved.
R.I.P. Nipsey Hussle.
R.I.P. Sounds like he's a inspirational dude.
You should really listen to him. He's awesome.
Green and Burroughs tweeting about him. So, yeah, very sad. I feel ignorant for not knowing who he was.
Same.
Little Jerry Seinfeld, which I'm just accused from ease, which means questions from enemies. And Little Jerry Seinfeld was the name of Kramer's Chicken for you Seinfeld watchers back in the day. What big names will relocate RTCs between now and 2020 to avoid infighting, i.e. Nickel Taylor, Spencer Gilman, J.O. Dake, etc.? Well, J.O. is either 65 with Yanni or 74 with Dake, and I don't think he's going 74. So I don't think he's leaving. Spencer Gilman.
J.O. Dake? What the?
Yeah, he doesn't know how big. He doesn't. Just don't get hung up on that. I addressed it. Nickel Taylor, as we said. So I don't know what maybe it is Spencer Gilman. I don't know who would leave. Whose man's, but maybe that one. I don't see any other major conflicts.
And even J.O. Yanni, it's only going to be like a 2-year thing. Like J.O. can go through 2024, but he's
Yanni's legally allowed to.
Yanni's 20 and J.O.'s 29.
Is he? No way.
J.O.'s my age.
Oh my gosh, you're 29.
You're 29.
Oh, I'm 28. I'm 28 right now. I'm turning 29 this year. J.O.'s older than me, so it's either 28 or turning 29.
Oh man, we're getting old.
I didn't know you were 29.
Dude, this changes everything, doesn't it? Wow.
It does. We should read Gene Parmesan's question.
Oh, ask it.
If you were at Gene_Parmesan13, if you were to start the Ethan Lezak backpack camp, who would you invite to be clinicians? Also, would you rather the camp giveaway be a small lizard, a backpack, or a backpack of Lezak's face?
Well, the second one's obvious. You would rather have a backpack with Ethan Lezak's face on
Absolutely. The face he had when Austin DeSanto was like saying stuff to him.
Yeah,
that face.
Yeah, that face.
Where he's just like, what is happening right now?
He's like, why are you yelling at me? He looks so confused.
I didn't tweet any of those things.
He's like, what's happening? I don't have Twitter, for crying out loud. So who would be at the backpack? I think watching Logan Stieber tech fall Kyle Bauer yesterday, I think he should be involved.
Wow.
Sorry, no shots fired. We were Kyle Bauer, Barstool guy. He was a wrestler at Kent State. He's really funny. He's from Wheeling, West Virginia. We all know him. And, he wrestled Logan Stieber once, and I went back and watched it because he made some headlines for his hotel behavior. I would invite Logan Stieber.
Hopefully all of
Probably
the...
Zane.
You know who needs to be a clinician? It's Kyle Shoup.
Kyle Shoup should
That
be
dude
there.
turned everybody.
I want the dudes that are like completely like liabilities on their feet. Lezak was good on his feet, but I want like
You want there to be like a disparity. This guy won matches on the mat.
Pataxel would be one. Gregor Gillespie, he was pretty good on his feet, but he was auto top. AJ Shop.
Shop needs to be there.
This is a pretty good. This pamphlet's fire. I could see handing out, and I love that this guy's name's Gene Parmesan. Kyle and Dan, you probably don't know who that is, but he's it's a very obscure Arrested Development reference, which is my favorite show probably ever, other than The Wire. And he's like this undercover detective, private eye guy. It's really funny. You should all watch Arrested Development. Which guy that wasn't our representative on the world team this year has the best shot of medaling in 2019? Well, there's a lot of potential options there. There is Nishan Garrett, who kind of made the team, and then his replacement medaled. So I think that's a good option. Nomad, any guys you want to throw in there?
Jordan Oliver.
J.O.
Right at the top of the list.
Yep, I think so.
That one to me is the way he's wrestled against some of these other top guys like Chikaev and stuff. It's Jordan Oliver.
J.O. You have anyone, Kyle Brackey? Jared Hott.
Jason Nolf.
Jason Nolf. All right. One more question from Sam Herring, our guy. Make sure you listen to the Home Mat Advantage podcast, hosted by Sam Herring and Jude. I think it's Fisher or Swisher. Thank you. I forgot it last
cool
show.
Name.
Almost in this.
He was at NCAA's meeting when I talked to him.
Oh, really?
He's a great kid.
Did he wrestle?
Yeah.
How'd he do?
Not so good.
Crap.
Yeah.
Well, he's better. Maybe his future's in podcasting, or maybe he's just at a bad tournament. All right.
He'll be fine.
NCAA's is hard.
Yeah.
By the way,
he's a good wrestler.
After the last show, I began to think what would solve the problem we were having with American wrestlers competing for other countries. My solution is Cliff King Wrestling Club should secede from the United States of America. How do I feel about this? I don't feel good about that. I like Cliff King Wrestling Club. I think they should be in the United States. I would just prefer that their wrestlers wrestled for America.
At least their coach is foreign.
Yes.
Belglazov.
That gives me no comfort. Someone asked.
Andy Rovat lived in Russia for a while too.
Did he?
Did he?
I think.
Andy Rovat lived in Russia.
Where'd you hear that?
I'm not. Are you sure?
Come on, dude. You're making that up.
Sorry.
Why would he not tell us?
Fake news.
He should tell us. Andy, you should have let us know that. Someone asked, I don't know, the question didn't get in here, but which of the, I'll call them defectors, poses the best shot at medaling at Worlds? And I think if Pico comes back, it would probably be him. If I had to say, then maybe Micic.
Micic tech the world silver.
That seems important.
That gives me and was very close with world gold. So I would say Micic. Part of it, I mean, I have no idea where Pico is wrestling wise.
Yeah.
Like I see Stefan Micic wrestle frequently. Haven't seen Aaron Pico step on a mat in 4 years.
Yeah.
He's great at liquefying dudes' kidneys, but
sometimes he gets knocked out though.
Well, that was one time.
No, he's lost twice now.
He didn't mean to.
Maybe a couple times.
Kyle said he didn't mean to. That is true. That is true.
He tried.
He 100% did not mean to. All right. It's time to go.
Well,
hold on.
I got a couple things. Just because you guys talked about the seeds last time, and I only went back 1 year. Maybe I'll go back more later, or maybe it'll be a start of the next season thing. But anyway, so at NCAA's, I tallied them up. 74 of the 80 All-Americans this year, 2019, were 10 seeds or higher, which basically is like, that's basically chalk, in my opinion, right? Mm-hmm. Last year, 64 of the 80 were 10 seeds or higher.
That's
so 10 full seeds below 10 that were either unseeded, which kind of corroborates with what I said right away when this came out, which is, well, that sucks for lower seeds. There's going to be way fewer All-Americans from them. Now, it was just 1 year, so I got to go back and look at it again. But, this year you had an 11 seed, a 13, a 15, 2 16s, and 26. Last year, 3 11s, a 12, 3 13s, a 15, a 16, and 7 unseeded guys.
7 unseeded guys placed?
Last year, 2018,
Wow.
yeah.
That's crazy.
Maybe because you shouldn't seed all 33.
Well, wait.
My opinion. I liked it better when there's more chaos.
To me, it's,
there's evidence.
That's evidence to the contrary. It's like, well, if the regular season's to have value, then you should be punished or rewarded for the good or bad that you do, and you should be given up.
Oh, regular season should have value, but
only to top 16. Because basically,
chaos ensues.
Yeah, chaos. I mean, you had some chaos.
I don't like there's 16. I think it should go back to 12.
I
want as much chaos as possible. Yeah, regular season matters, right? Alex Marinelli, you're in the 1 seed. Great. Then you got to finish it off. You got to beat Mekhi Lewis, right? Miles Martin are in the 1 seed. Then you got to go and finish it off. You got to beat Max Dean. That has nothing to do with their seeds. That they lost matches.
What's your point there?
That you get the seeding as correct as possible, and then whatever happens in the tournament happens in the tournament. And if it's a lot of chaos, that's great. And if it's not a lot of chaos, well, that's not as great.
Well, so be it.
That's like your opinion, man.
I just said it was my opinion.
Yeah.
I just said this is an inarguable thing because we're just going to go back in circles going, well, I want this and you want that. I think it's better when low-seeded and unseeded guys are All-American. I think it's better for the sport.
Oh my gosh, better for the sport. I
just
love
like
it's for the growth of the sport.
Oh yeah, it's really great. It's really great when 6 teams have 90 of the All-Americans. That's real freaking awesome. That's cool. Have no hope. That's real good for athletic departments to continue to do it. Well, we haven't had an All-American in 30 years. Yeah. That's how programs get cut.
Okay, double bronze.
That's how programs get cut.
No, it's not. Eastern Michigan is the poster child for random All-American.
Yeah, yes, fine. Eastern Michigan and Omaha, Nebraska, and all that, fine. But that it helps. It's easier to justify keeping a team that's winning. It's easier to justify a team that's winning because they're more likely to make money than the teams that aren't.
Oh, so, really? Because they had an unseeded All-American, they're more likely to make money? It's not true, man.
Are you going to donate to a team that sucks, or are you gonna donate to a team that's showing promise?
I can't believe
that's how life works. Like, you're gonna give money to that's why Harvard has a $6 trillion endowment when they don't need it. Everybody gives money to the big schools, the big programs, the big companies, and not to the smaller things. That's just how it works.
Buddy, you went from you want less seeds because you want more random All-Americans. Correct. Because more random All-Americans. Well, I mean,
it'd be better for the sport. It'd be better for the sport to have fewer All-Americans.
That is a leap, my friend.
And we're going to finish on this because we can do this for 20 minutes. But you have this very specific view of how the NCAA should go. In the regular season, I agree the regular season should matter. But what you won't make the leap of is that if you really want NCAAs to be a true reflection of talent and the season and all that it should just be 8, 10, or 12 guys in a round robin and not a line bracket tournament with nearly half of the starters in the NCAA making it. That is an actual true reflection of the talent in the seasons than having 33 guys in a line bracket that doesn't reseed.
No.
Yes, it is. I don't know. I don't know how you can't wrap your brain around this. You're so silly that you know that the best way to determine a champion in anything, to determine who's the best in anything, is a large data set, right? The larger the data set, the better.
Here's the data set.
And this is why the NBA always has the same teams instead of as opposed to college basketball, because it's a 7-game series instead of 1. And so the more games you play, the more likely you have that the better team is going to win. So if you have a round robin, it is better than a line bracket to determine the true level of talent and who is truly better. And to have a small round robin bracket would be better for determining who is the best and the order of the best.
You're repeating yourself, no, man. I get it.
Because you don't understand it. You haven't understood it for the whole time that I've worked here, and I don't get it because you factually know that to be true, but you just love you cannot shake this beautiful thing, this beautiful NCAA tournament that you have in your brain. You can't shake that it should be changed in any way.
I do think it should be changed. I thought it should be changed over the years. I like that they've changed how they've seeded. I like that they've changed the qualification process. I like that there is an element of some surprise in what can happen in terms of.
But you don't like that because the data suggests that was worse.
No, I let you rant and rave. You're breaking out in hives on your neck. Let me have a turn.
Because you're You're lying to yourself. You're lying to the people.
Nomad,
and
am
you're
I gonna
talking
get
about
to
different
talk,
things.
or
Nomad.
You're talking about
Be
different
qu-
things.
You gotta
Nomad,
be
CP's
quiet.
turn.
Fine, but he's fine.
say
I
fine and
understand
just
this. I
stop.
understand this. But I'm gonna get this out.
Say fine and stop.
He's unplugged.
He's lying to you guys.
I'm not lying.
He is.
He's not gonna let me talk. He's sleep deprived.
I have breaking news.
Okay.
Willie just tweeted, huge news. They think I have the gout. Celebrating with a Bud Heavy. I just want to get out in front of this. I called this in 2015. I'm the one that told him he had gout, and he should have just listened to me.
Oh my gosh, he really has gout?
Yes,
We knew it. We knew it back then.
Wait, you saying the doctor confirmed it?
That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what a mess. No. Now that he's settled down.
Write your things down and look at them. Write your things down and look at them, and you're going to see that you have cognitive dissonance about the NCAAs and what it should be and what it should mean.
No, I don't.
Because yes, you do.
Kelly
They're two separate
Howard-
things. You just won't admit it.
No, Matt, Kelly Howard's concerned you're going to have an aneurysm.
I know, because Kelly Howard's a good guy. He understands that I get fired up about these things.
I know, but it's like it's way extra. And there is a certain there's a melding of we get basically the right order and the right guys when we do the 33-man bracket. It's approximate. It's not perfect, but we're also you need to have this standpoint. It's no.
This is why I agree that the bracket should be the thing.
I agree that the bracket should be the thing too. I like the brackets. I don't want a round robin tournament. Yeah, we could do that. We should do you're wrong. We should do a 78-man round robin and get the entire field involved and then go from there.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
the
but
European soccer season.
Okay, but that is not pragmatic. That doesn't make sense. That is not a way to build a sport. It makes no sense. So I can simultaneously say, okay, sure, that would be the more exact way to get the exact winner. But here's the perfect melding. A properly seeded or approximately properly accurately seeded 33-man bracket, and whoever gets top 8 gets top 8, and whoever doesn't.
Okay, and so getting back to the building and the growing of the sport, do you think having a small concentration of talent is better, or in a few teams, or to have more opportunities for lower All-Americans?
There's no change in the talent. The talent is the talent that enters the tournament.
No, I understand the talent is the same, but the opportunities are different.
The opportunity is identical. You are in a 33-man bracket, and if you're top 8, you will wrestle that way, and you earned the 19, the 24, the 28 seed based on the season that you had. And if you had done better, you could place yourself in the bracket in a better position, and you would place top 8. And you can still place in the top 8 as the 29, 30, 31 seed.
Yes.
We had a 33 seed make the round of 12. So it can happen. Cash Wilkie was a 34th or 35th man in, and he made the round of 12.
Yes, I get all that, but you understand that when you seed 33, you get a different placement than because the 33 guy under the old system could meet the 1 seed, could meet the 5 seed, could meet the 8 seed. Now we know the 33 meets the 1. Now we know the 25 meets the 8. Now we know the 17 meets the 16.
That's fine.
That
happened. I have no issue with that.
I think that's stupid.
Why should Alex?
I think it's so stupid. And the other reason that it's so stupid is because while the selection process is much better than it was before at getting the 33 guys in, because of the nature of how it is done, because RPI is super random, because schedules are not created equal, because guys get injured and miss matches and sit out tournaments and things, that once you get below 16 and you have to use things like RPI and coaches rankings, it gets way more jumbled, right? Like 16 to 20 to 24 is much closer in most instances than 1 through 8, right? Because of the nature of their losses and because of the nature of the coaches ranks, where guys will call each other and go, "Hey, I need my guy to get in. Can you rank him?" But some people at home don't know this, so that's why I'm trying to explain it to them.
Well, everyone knows that the 16-24, they all beat each other. They're
right.
Incestuous.
And so to have incestuous, and so to have the 1 through 16 was better. I like the 1 through 12. If you want to go 1 through 16, fine. But to have a system that has more random variability is better for the sport than what we have now, and I think we're gonna continue to see, would I say 74 of the 80 All-Americans were top 10, 75 of the 80 were top 11. I would much prefer it to be, 65 to 70 are top 9 through 11 seeds.
You prefer?
I think that's much better for the sport. I think it's better for us as media. It gives us better storylines. I think it's better for fans to have something to hang on to have another All-American.
Okay.
And I think the because of the nature of the tournament, right, and how it ends up, that we're never going to get and you seem to have calmed down this from the last time that I talked to you about this. Willie's really gung-ho about the top 8, being accurate. That matters way less than chaos and calamity and having different teams be able to get All-Americans and different representatives get on the podium. That matters way less than having a historically accurate record of who the top 8 is. What is more important is having a historically accurate record of who, like, the finalists are.
Uh-huh. That's just like your opinion, man. You're saying
I understand that's my opinion.
What you are saying is, and what I don't like is this bleeding heart thing for the small programs and the guys. First of all, they're not necessarily small programs. They're just worse wrestlers. You want worse wrestlers on the podium.
Well, worse seasons, not necessarily worse wrestlers.
No, because if they weren't worse, they would place top 8 this year. They are worse. Right? But you want this random jumbled thing so that you have this more opportunity for them. It's just like the UWW double bronze with the uneven. You got 8 up top and 16 in bottom. So maybe we can get Portugal a medal so that we can tell the IOC it's all vanity. It's totally fake. Portugal is not a contender in the world space or whatever random country you want to say. It means nothing. It's total vanity. It's a fake stat.
Why do you say vanity?
It's like, look at us. We're this sport of immense inclusion where you can win from any country, but really we just rig it so that there's inherently more chance of some guy placing top 3 in UWW when really we know it's not top 3.
Aren't we a sport of inclusion? Don't we hang our hat
Sure.
on? Don't we hang our hat on? It doesn't matter how big you are.
I hang my hat on. This is a sport that is a true meritocracy and doesn't rig it and make it so certain way so you can have some random school or some dude that mailed it in all year and just gets hot and has the right draw to the bracket to place 8th. I like that the best guys in general win. The guys that have worked hard and had the best seasons, etc. And you know what? The guys that don't, the guys like Chip Ness that don't have good years, terrible draws, they make it happen. They make it happen. If they're good enough to make it happen, they'll make it happen, right? But I just don't agree with rigging the system to reward the guys that haven't put it on the line all year long and haven't earned it just to create some random path for them to make it when there's guys that have, because what the counter is, you're saying the guys that have had the better seasons, that have worked harder, that have done more, that have been more accomplished and better, you're by putting these guys on the podium, the randos, you're taking these other guys off. And I don't agree with that necessarily. It doesn't matter. We can't go back and forth on this anymore. It's 9:30. It's time to go. We will be back. I don't know if Willie will be back. I don't know what. Does he need emergency surgery?
Is the gout?
How do you cure gout? We will Google that.
Stop eating and drinking all that crap.
So he will have gout for the rest of his life.
He could, yes.
Until he dies.
Yes.
Because he will not change.
He won't.
He's not. It's not going to happen. He won't. I think it's gotten worse since he moved back. At least he had to walk inside to the building. He had to park. Now, he would park where he wasn't supposed to park when he worked here. But he still would have to park. He would have to walk to his car, drive here.
Wait, where would he?
Then walk inside. He would park out front of the gym.
Yeah,
remember?
Yeah.
And so now he doesn't have to get out to go. He just goes down to his basement and works from there. So I'm highly concerned that we'll ever get a walking Willie back in. He's coming to Austin next week, by the way. He should be here in studio. Yeah, you didn't know that, but it's happening.
I was with him all weekend. He didn't tell me.
Well, it was in that email about we're gonna have
the
dinner
celebratory.
Yeah, we'll all be together for dinner.
Celebratory dinner.
Anyways, you don't care about our dinner plans, but we'll keep you posted on Willie. Maybe he'll be back. Maybe this is the end of Willie and FRL, and
maybe this is the end of Willie in general.
It could be the end of Willie in general. But what vindication! What a day of victory for Bracky and really myself, because we've been steadfastly saying this man has gout forever, and in your face doctors who told him otherwise.
He didn't go to a doctor the first time around.
True, but he did see the trainer.
He just told himself it was turf toe, so he felt like an athlete.
Yeah. Yeah, you know who got turf toe? Deion Sanders. Not frickin' you, Willie.
Wait, he just self-diagnosed himself with turf toe?
Yes.
Well, no. Pat Santoro also told him he had turf toe at the U.S. Open. He was asking everyone.
Enablers.
He was showing everyone his foot. It was so embarrassing. Goodness.
Don't call Santoro.
We'll be back later. Thanks, guys.
They just didn't want to argue with him. Like, oh, yeah, turf toe for sure.
No.